Successful business leaders never stop learning. Inform your opinions at Business Desk, your deep dive into New Zealand business, the markets and the economy. Subscribe with Google at businessdesk.co.nz.
You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
The Wellington Phoenix have appointed a new head coach for their A-League women's side. This morning, the club's academy director, Paul Temple, was announced as the new coach. He'll take the reins for the next two A-League women's seasons. Paul Temple coached New Zealand at the inaugural FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup here in New Zealand back in 2008. He also took New Zealand to the 2012 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup and was an assistant coach for the New Zealand Under-20 women's team. He's currently the Wellington Phoenix's academy director and has also been involved with New Zealand men's age group teams. In fact, shortly he's off to the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Argentina as assistant coach to head coach Darren Baisley. So plenty going on with Paul Temple. He joins us now. Congratulations on the new role, Paul. What was the attraction of taking on this role for you?
Thanks, Piney. It's obviously a real privilege to lead the team going into the next few seasons. It's to be able to coach in the A-League full time and to have a professional team is what every coach, I guess, is aspiring to. So for me, it was a great opportunity to really push myself in terms of my coaching journey and to challenge myself and to try and help this team move forward. So yeah, it was an easy decision for me in the end. I've loved being at the Phoenix the last 7 years. So it's a real honour to take the team.
What have you seen from the team, particularly in the season that has just concluded, that has encouraged you?
Well, I think Gemma in the first season and then continuing with Natalie this season, you can just see a spirit in these girls, right? They've just got a great attitude. They're so hardworking. They've got good mentality. They want to improve. They're always given 100%. And I think the fans really buy into that. They're very humble girls and easy to get on with. So I think they're a real attractive proposition from that perspective. Good fan buy-in. So those are really good qualities. So to have that as a foundation to work from is really, really good for me. And it's just about kind of trying to keep the team moving forward, improve the team and take them towards making the finals.
So where are the major growth areas for this side in your view?
I think if you look at the league in general, the teams that have those top goal scorers, those number nines that are putting in goals every game, every two games, they make the difference in this league. And so we haven't been able to find ourselves real top striker at this point, and I think that's definitely an area that we need to improve on. And so we'll be looking to bring someone in to fill that gap and build an attacking unit around that. The team have done some really good stuff on the field, but haven't quite been able to score enough goals to win them the games and kind of take them up the table. So that's the main focus, is to use the good base that's been created and just to try and get the team a little bit more attacking, clinical and scoring more goals.
When you're looking for a player who might be that for you, someone who can score 10 to a dozen goals a season or thereabouts or even more, is that likely, Paul, to be somebody, an international player?
Yeah, I think so. The club are ambitious. The chairman wants us to do well and to move up the ladder and push towards finals. And we're definitely looking at some import players, and that will be the first time for the Phoenix in the women's space. So the net will go far and wide. Being appointed so early on in the kind of off season is great because it gives time to look towards bringing in players, and we can work on a recruitment model that will hopefully bring us some successful players. And we also have a huge advantage in that the best players in the world are coming to our shores in a few months' time too. So hopefully we'll be able to sell Wellington and New Zealand to some of them. But yeah, look, we'll certainly be looking to bring in some visa players for next season, and it makes sense that one of those would be a striker, yeah.
And what about the local players? At the moment, as I understand it, I think Chloe Knott and Alyssa Wynnum are both signed for next season. They might be the only two. You'll correct me, I'm sure, if I'm wrong there. So is recruitment and retention of players for next season going to be one of your first priorities in this new role?
Yeah, 100%. We just have Chloe and Alyssa, you're right, in terms of contracted players for next season. So my first job over the next 48 hours is going to be to speak to all the players in the team from this season, and we definitely need to look to re-sign our best players. We had some standout performers this year, and the awards night would tell you someone like a Michaela Foster, who had an amazing breakout season. Those type of players that have proven over the last season, 2 seasons, that they're good quality A-League players. We need to re-sign them, and I'm under no illusions that there's going to be clubs circling around them and trying to pull them over somewhere else. So that's the first point of call. Talk to the current squad and look to get some contracts on the table for players we want to re-sign and build the squad from there, really.
How challenging is and I presume these still exist, the restrictions around the team, and part of the conditions of entry was that the Phoenix had to sign a certain number of Australian players on your roster. Is that still the case? And if so, how challenging is that to navigate?
Well, I think that was a huge challenge for Gemma and for Nat. As it stands, we're seeking clarification from APLCO on that. We've had some, I think, positive discussions as a club with them around those restrictions being removed. So obviously that's our ideal, that we can operate like we do in the men's space and sign as many New Zealanders and Australians as we see fit, without there being certain restrictions on us. So we're hopeful that we can get to that point moving into the next season, but we probably still need to just get official clarification on that before we know for sure.
Fair enough. And to the coaching itself, I mean, you seem to have been around forever. You still look about 23, but I'm sure you're a little bit older than that. But how different is coaching female players from male players, or are you really just coaching footballers?
Yeah, I do just see it as coaching footballers. I think we've had some really good examples in the last few years, especially this part of the world and the A-League. If you look at someone like Rado Vidicic, he's gone from coaching Melbourne City's women's team straight to the men's team, and he's won championships with both of them within 12 months. So you've got Alan Stajic, did the Matildas, and then went and had a good stint at the Mariners in the men's team, and there's a few others as well. So I think nowadays it's different. It used to very much be women's game and men's game, but nowadays I think it's just coaching, and coaching is moving more fluidly across both those. So I see them as players first and foremost. There's some parts that you don't treat differently at all, and then there's other parts and nuances that obviously you've got to adapt a little bit, but that would be the same with the difference between, say, coaching youth players in an academy and coaching a men's first team. You've got some little differences and things that you do in your coaching and how you deal with the players, so it's just part of the coaching process. That's how I see it.
Indeed. And I presume this means this isn't a dual role thing, is it? You will be relinquishing your role as Academy Director at the Phoenix to take on this new role? Yeah,
I will. The club are very aligned in terms of their thinking around the closeness of the first teams, men and women, and the academy. We've all got to be really working together, and there'll definitely be some crossover of roles in the extended group of staff in the A-League Women and the academy. So there'll be a really tight bond there. But also, we've just got really good people in our academy, and I'm very confident in the people that we have working there that we'll be able to move around and kind of fill any spaces that need to be filled internally, perhaps bring in some other coaches as well, like over the next 6 to 12 months. But it's great that I'm still within the club and will be working closely with the academy. So I think we'll have a seamless transition there, and I don't have any worries. And I've got a lot of faith in the people that are in those positions, that they'll continue the good work.
And just on that, Temps, I mean, we've seen a number of male players come through the club's academy. It's been a feature, actually, of the club players who have come through the academy into the first team, have excelled there, and then even gone offshore. And what you've seen in the women's academy space, are there players there you've been working with who you can see being A-League players for you?
Yeah, absolutely are. I think we've got some really good candidates for that straight away. But we've also now built out a girls' academy program all the way down to under 15, and so we've got some longer-term prospects as well that are doing quite well at the moment. So look, I think these are strong things for us as a club in the future, and we would definitely be looking towards the same direction as we've been going with the men's side of things, where we have academy players coming through and taking scholarship contracts, moving into professional contracts with the first team. And if they do really well, then obviously seeking opportunities in the big leagues overseas in the future. So, yeah, that's very much how I see things playing out in the women's space. And it's about us building a good program underneath to support the women's team as much as the men's team.
Terrific. Well, you've got a lot of phone calls to make, as you say, over the next 48 hours. Thanks for taking mine this afternoon, Paul. Congratulations again on this appointment. And, an exciting time for you. So look forward to seeing how the next few months play out and then on towards the new season.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Piney.
Thank you, mate. That is Paul Temple, brand new coach of the Wellington Phoenix Women's team, confirmed around 10:30 this morning that he'll be taking on that role from Natalie Lawrence, who decided not to reapply for her role after an end-of-season review. So Paul Temple takes over. And as you say, he's got a bit of work, or as you heard, he's got a bit of work to do in terms of recruitment and retention, then heading off shortly to the men's under-20 World Cup. So plenty of football on the plate of Paul Temple, but those of you who know him will know that that's exactly the way he loves it.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.
Hello, I'm Liam Dan, Business Editor-at-Large for the New Zealand Herald, and I'm back with another season of my podcast, Money Talks. In this series, we're not going to tell you how to get rich. We're not going to try and pick the next interest rate move. Instead, I'll be talking to some interesting New Zealanders about how money has shaped their lives and what they've learned about it through the years. Join us every Saturday for a new chat with an exciting range of guests from the world of business, politics and entertainment. You can find Money Talks with me, Liam Dan, wherever you get your podcasts.